Okay, after you have set up your account and you are logging in, it will look something similar to this. Again, I have the instructor side, so it's going to look a little bit different than yours. Like I have some tabs up here that you won't have and some tabs down here. But the main components are the same. So where it says view this publication, obviously your Albany State, you're going to click on that. You're going to select the section, and you won't have the instructor resources, obviously, so it'll be the fall 2024 or whichever semester you're taking with me. All right, and then you actually get to the online program finally. So let's take a look and see what the components are. There's a welcome page about the author, the chapters, homework, grammar review, speaking and writing, exams, additional resources, and your grade book. So let's go through those. The welcome, we'll go ahead and skip. You can look at that if you'd like to, but the chapters, let's look at the general layout of the entire course. So if you look at the choose page, or if we just look right here at the chapters, we have 1 introduction, 2 nursing, 3 exercise and movement, 4 production and sounds and communication disorders, 5 psychology, 6 public health. So there are 6 basically chapters or modules, okay? And in each chapter or module, there's a subsection. So we might say like chapter 1 or module 1 is introduction, and it has chapter 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and 1.5. So under each section, so for example 1.1, it is a lot of information. So let's go ahead and open that up. And you can see it's going to tell you what the topic is about. So this is just chapter 1, and this is section 1.1 of chapter 1, okay? And again, remember there were several sections in just chapter 1. So we got saludos y despedidas, and there's practice 1. It's going to check your prior knowledge of Spanish. Some of these sections tend to be back to the basic elementary Spanish, but some of the sections to me seem like they assume that you've had some Spanish experience. So it's a little bit of both. On this one, there is asking, what do you already know? Saludos and despedidas. So you may not know any. Maybe you save it and then you submit with no answers. Maybe you go and you look them up. But this is just to assess where you're at. So if you don't know any, leave it blank. And then it's going to introduce them to you. So this is where I'm saying it's kind of like, do you have any experience with Spanish? And if not, well, here's the basics. So it's going to go and just teach you hola. Now, what I would do on this, there is a last page in the chapter that's all the vocab words that were introduced to you. But I would probably make my own flashcards, or at least my own vocab list while I'm going. I would make a vocab list, and then I would go to Quizlet.com and I would create my own flashcards to practice there. I'm not particularly fond of their flashcards within this program. They're sufficient, but they don't have the pronunciation. And Quizlet.com, if you create your own, or even if you just go search for somebody else's package of vocab words, you get to listen to the pronunciation and you can use different games. And I'll show you that in a different video. But so this is pretty basic. It's just going to do 1 vocab word at a time. So hola, buenos dias. It doesn't practice pronunciation or listening or anything yet. Hola, buenos dias. So there's other sections. It's just introducing you. And then it throws, so they had some vocab, and now it's going into a grammar section. So it's explaining formal versus informal. And the explanation of it is in Spanish, which to me is a little bit confusing if you don't know any Spanish. So I will be incorporating some extra teaching materials in D2L that refer to the same material that you're learning here. Usually what I'll do is post a video. So it'll be a link to a YouTube video where either myself or somebody else has explained the same topic. Therefore, if you've already taken some Spanish and you already know formal versus informal, and you can read this explanation of this here, and you already know all this, you can look at it and know, okay, I am responsible for knowing this information. I already know this, and now I can continue on. If you're not familiar with it and you don't feel like the book here online is teaching you enough, or you can't read this in Spanish, and you haven't taken Spanish before, you can refer back to the D2L course that I'm creating for you, and it will show you links per chapter. I'll have extra links that are videos or explanations about these grammar topics. Now, vocab is pretty much standard. The book is sufficient, but again, I would give you a link to Quizlet.com where you can go and create your own flashcards. So there, you are going to be using this online course in itself, but I'm going to add additional things in D2L that will be extra components, mostly for you in case you have not taken a basic Spanish class before. And I will make a video about that so you can see how to navigate between the two. But almost all of your material is going to be here. So we just scroll down. It's explaining this is your grammar section, more grammar, formal versus formal. Again, all this. And then it goes back to more vocab. So de nada, gracias, and then there's some practice. So there's quite a bit of vocabulary up here, not a ton, but you've got some vocab, some grammar, and then it's going to have you practice it, okay? On the practices, these will be credit, no credit. You will not be receiving a grade for these. This is for you to see, did I understand what I just read, or do I need to go to D2L and look at those extra links? And get some more practice on this before I'm ready for the test. So practice is just that. You're just practicing to see, do I know this information before I go to take the exam at the end of the chapter? All right, so let's take a look. There's a listening.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
¿Cómo está usted?
Okay, and it's asking, is the conversation formal or informal? You would just click whichever one you think it is, and so on. It gets a little bit harder. This does ask you to include accent marks, tildes, and question marks or exclamation marks as needed. And I will also have a explanation of how to insert those in when you're typing on the computer, because we don't do that in English. So there is another way to insert those when you're typing, all those special marks that are included in Spanish. So it wants you to actually create an original dialogue here. Again, there's no right or wrong answer, but can you do it? And if you can't, you're assessing yourself. I need to go back and look at the dialogue again. Like introducing, how are you? Nice to meet you. Those are all things that they taught you above. So would you be able to write those? And it's okay to go back and look at it and fill in your sentence and go back and look at it. So right now we're just practicing. You're not being assessed on this. It's asking you, so is your conversation that you wrote formal or informal? When does it occur? In the morning, afternoon, evening? You visit someone, okay, and then write a situation. And again, you're typing these out. So